What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. It's Alonzo. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I'm gonna just tell you that right off the back because over here, we're family and we have a key. We have a good old time. Why would you not want to be a part of that? So go ahead and subscribe. Today for you guys, I have a different kind of video. Today's a little more chill, a little more laid back, and this is something that I would like to turn into a new series where we basically just kind of sit down and just chat about a bunch of different topics that are kind of just off the top of my head, just kind of some things that I want to rant about and just let you guys hear my thoughts about. If you don't already, please follow me on IG because, like I said, I would love to turn this into a series. And the next time that I do this, I would love to ask you guys what are some topics that you guys would like me to talk about and kind of just hear my thoughts on. So please, if you don't, make sure you do that. But I don't want to make this intro any long because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So again, please, if you haven't already and you're new here, subscribe. If you are not new here and you are family, you already know what to do. Comment, like, and subscribe, and enjoy the video. So a lot of these topics can range between being a little more on the serious side and some of them being lighthearted. They can range from either being about social media, politics, just miscellaneous, like it can be anything. It can be music related. It can literally range. But since this is our first time, I want to start it off a little more lighthearted with us talking about where to live after college. This has been something that I've been recently thinking a lot about because for those that don't know and that are new here, I've been living in LA for the past 2.5 months for a summer internship. And during my time here, well, first off, let me say I wanted to live in LA since I was a little kid. Like it's been my dream. And since my time here, like first time living in LA, like long term, I realized that when I say I want to live in LA, I need to be a little more specific because I would not live in this area of LA that I'm currently in. And if you're wondering, I live in the Valley. I personally would not want to live in the Valley ever again just because it does not seem like there's that much to do here. It seems like everything is in the city, but if you don't have a car and you use public transportation, it can take at least an hour and a half to get into the city. And that's like just there and back. So a total time of 3 hours traveling. And that can kind of make traveling and going outside to do fun activities, it can kind of make it feel like a chore just a tad bit because there's been a lot of moments during my time here where I've wanted to go out and like do something fun, but that travel time to get there made me rethink and be like, maybe I'm okay with being in the house today. I don't know. I don't really feel like making that trip. So as a result, it has kind of made me start thinking a little more deeper about where specifically do I really want to live. And I've honestly started coming out with more ideas, like even just outside of Cali, of where would I live, like kind of coming up with I guess, a list of different options. And I'm going to talk about those options. So currently, I do still have like LA as my top choice of where I want to live after college. I will say right now, for those that don't know, I go to school in Boston, and I can tell you right now, Boston is nowhere on that list of where to live after college. I'm strictly in Boston for my degree, and I'm telling you, the second I get that degree, Boston doesn't have to worry about seeing me ever again. That will be said and done once I walk across that stage. Boston does not have to worry about seeing me ever again. The weather is literally the one and only reason why I don't think I could ever live in Boston long term. The weather is quite literally the worst I have ever experienced. It gets it skips fall and goes straight to winter as soon as October hits, and it stays like that until like middle of May. No, thank you. I absolutely hate cold weather. If I had to choose between being in hot weather or cold weather, I'm choosing hot weather any day. So as of right now, my goal after college is to go to LA. But now that I've actually had, an opportunity to live here temporarily and kind of experience a specific area, I'm now realizing that I specifically want to live in like more the city urban area of LA, like maybe like Culver City, which is kind of like next to, well, not next to, but close, relatively close to UCLA, like that North Hollywood area. Like I feel like that's a good area that I wanted to live in because I for sure even if it's not LA specifically, I know that I want to live in the city. So that brings me to my choice number two of New York City. I think this is funny considering the fact that currently on the internet there's a debate of what are the top five major cities, and everyone unanimously agreeing that the top two are Los Angeles and New York City. So I think for me saying that, I want to live in a big city and my top two choices being LA and New York City is just kind of funny to me. But I've lived, not lived, but I've visited New York City three times throughout my entire life. And every time I've gone, it's been impossible to not fantasize living there. I just love everything about New York City, like just the idea of like walking. Because let me say this, I have never been a person that has ever complained about having to walk anywhere. I love walking. So being able to walk like the streets of New York City and kind of just have a view of just a bunch of different tall buildings, and then you got walking, past Central Park. Like there's just so many beautiful things about New York City that I could absolutely see myself enjoying every day, like being an actual resident there. Now, the con that I do have about like the possibility of living in New York City is the weather. Like I said, I do not like cold weather. So, when it gets to that winter time and we start getting some snow, I'm not too sure I want to experience that. And real quickly, I want to go back to LA for a second because that just made me remember something. The constant sun in LA, not the biggest fan of. And I know that sounds crazy to say. It's like, what do you mean you don't like sunshine? You don't like too much sunshine. But I'm someone that likes a good mix of the rain. I do love me a good thunderstorm to where I can just stay inside, bundle up, order some food, and just binge watch movies. Like who doesn't love a good stay in rainy day? So the constant everyday sunshine, like they were not kidding when they said it never rains in Southern California. They were not kidding. It literally does not. It has not rained a single time that I've been here during my 2.5 months. And it honestly has started to drive me just a little crazy. 'Cause I'm just like, can we get some rain? Like a little bit? Like I need some diversity in the weather. So that also is unfortunately a bit of a con when it comes to the idea of living in LA after college. But back to New York City, the winter weather. I hate the cold. So when it gets to the winter time and I just gotta pull out my black puffer and it's snowing and I gotta worry about ice on the street, not feeling it. No, thank you. I would like to skip that if possible. The next topic that I have is media literacy. Now, here's where we start to get a little to the dark side of different topics. Social media has significantly affected y'all's media literacy. And a perfect example of this is Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour. I was going to say album, but I just want to say tour as a whole because, of course, she performs the Cowboy Carter album on the tour. I saw a tweet. I don't have Twitter anymore, but when I did, I saw this tweet. Actually, this was when I don't remember what show it was, but I think it was a DC show when she first premiered this it was this red, white, and blue outfit that she had, and it was with an American flag coat. And I remember when she debuted that outfit, Twitter went into an uproar, basically just kind of being like, oh, how could she like represent America? Like it's just great big country after everything that we have going on. I really feel like that just shows how much you lack comprehension skills. Because if you, or you just didn't even bother to actually listen to the album, because it doesn't take more than 5 minutes to listen to just the opening track and realize that she's not getting on this stage like preaching about how much she loves America and how it's the greatest country in the world. She's actually doing the quite opposite. And then I saw another tweet where, well, actually, that's the original tweet I was going to talk about, but someone had posted a picture of her when she was performing at the Super Bowl 2016, when she had the Black Panther outfit on. And then it was a side by side picture of her wearing the American flag outfit for the Cowboy Carter tour. And the caption was, "These two pictures are juxtapositions." And either you don't know what a either you don't know what a juxtaposition is, or again, you just didn't even bother to listen to the album, because the reality is that Super Bowl 2016 performance, coexist with the Cowboy Carter tour, because the point of both performances is to call out all of the things wrong that America does, like all the, inequality. I could go on and on about what's wrong with America, but that's a conversation for another day. And what absolutely creases me is that these kind of tweets will have like 150K likes, and it makes me so concerned because it's like, wow, this many people lack comprehension skills. This many people have garbage media literacy. Because again, it doesn't take a scientist to realize that this Cowboy Carter album is not about her repping America like she loves it and thinks it's the greatest country in the world and loves everything that's going on right now. It's If you listen to just the opening track, you would know that she's actually talking about the opposite of what y'all think she feels. Unfortunately, this discourse about Beyonce ripping the American flag and how y'all think she thinks America is the greatest country in the world, um, this discourse has unfortunately been going on since she first released that cover of her holding the American flag. And again, if y'all knew the story behind Cowboy Carter, that alone would disprove this idea that you guys have of her loving America and everything that's going on with it right now. But again, a lot of y'all, I honestly don't even really think it's a media literacy issue. I generally think that y'all are just too lazy to actually listen to albums, because you cannot convince me that you listened to that album and walked away with the idea that Beyonce loves America. So I think I don't think it's a media literacy. I think y'all just generally did not listen to the album, and for some odd reason feel like you can give every single opinion on it. But honestly, I feel like I could talk about this forever, but I don't want to go on too much. I don't want to start talking in circles. Um, we can take this same kind of energy though with the next topic, which is how social media how has affected how we listen to music. Obviously, media literacy going down the drain and people interpreting albums the opposite way in which the artist intended, just for the simple fact that they're just not listening to them. But I want to more so focus on the idea of Stan Twitter. Stan Twitter, not even just Stan Twitter, no. Yeah, I would say Stan Twitter plays like the majority role in this. Stan Twitter has significantly messed up how we listen to music. Nowadays, we listen, well, I'm not we. I listen to music just for the simple fact of, is the songwriting good? Is the production good? Are the vocals good? But nowadays, a lot of people listen to songs and listen to artists solely based off how many units they sold or how they charted. And when we kind of have this mindset that streams equal success, you have people streaming songs just for the sole purpose that they want to get as many streams as possible so that they can put their fave on this pedestal. Another good example of kind of just this whole topic about social media and how it's affected how we listen to music. I know I remember recently that Wallen, one of his songs, was number one on Billboard charts, and so many people were having discourse about like, who's listening to Morgan Wallen, how did it get number one? But I think this is my theory. I think it's solely because you know country fans generally listen to music. Like I've never really seen a country like stan account. So you don't really see country fans going back and forth on Twitter about who sold how many streams. They listen to the music for the sole purpose of they like it. They just like the music. So it's a little more genuine, and I think that's kind of what helped boost him up to that spot. Because while you have people on Stan Twitter arguing about which female rapper or which pop artist is selling how many streams, you got country fan artists, like real country like music listeners, getting together and actually streaming the music because they genuinely like it. And I think that's kind of just my theory on why and how he reached that top one spot. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize, because Stan Twitter is, and this kind of discourse about like streams and equating success with it does mainly happen within female rap and pop, kind of not as much with R&B, but I've seen it happen here and there. But I mainly see it happen with like the pop girlies and the female rappers. And what sucks even more is you really only see it with female artists. I never really see it with male artists. So I think that also contributes heavily to how, I think that answers the question of how Morgan Wallen got that top one spot. Okay, now kind of getting away from music because I feel like we talked about a lot of we talked a lot about that. I do want to stay on the topic though of social media and get into this recent trend that I am not the biggest fan of, which is people going in TikTok comment sections and just freely trauma dumping. I've been seeing that a lot lately where people will post videos of like them just having a good time, like just a good bonding moment with their family. And then you open the comment section, and the top comment is, I wish I had this. My family actually hates me. We don't get along ever. We don't care. Like, no one asked. I hate that people are feeling so comfortable going into strangers' comment sections and kind of basically trying to make it about themselves and just spill information that no one cared to ask about. And then what's even worse is you have so many people that will then go in the comment section and enable them and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. You deserve love. You deserve so many good things." And as a result, that's what makes more and more people feel comfortable doing that. And that's not okay. That's not normal. I wish somebody would get in my comments, of me posting it, like of me posting a video of me bonding with my family, and they feel like they can come in there and trauma dump and be like, I wish I had this. My family hates me. We don't get along ever. I'm going to reply and I'm going to let you know I don't care. And I feel like I made that clear because I did not ask. So this trend needs to stop immediately, and I really wish a lot of people would start calling it out more, especially the creators of the videos. Y'all need to just start deleting the comments, but I feel like even more, y'all need to let them know that we don't care. Hit them where it hurts. No shade. Well, all shade. Hit them where it hurts so that they can really feel uncomfortable doing it. Because again, this trend needs to stop, and it cannot get normalized because it's not normal. It shouldn't be normal, and it just needs to stop. So the next topic that I have is fathers that treat their children differently based on gender. I cannot stand how often I get on TikTok and see fathers. Yeah, no. I was gonna say, well, mothers can do it too, but I've mainly seen it with fathers. I hate how often I get on TikTok and see fathers openly talk about how, like, oh, my daughter, she's not gonna be allowed to date until she's like 18 or 21 and out of my house, living on her own, and is able to make her own decisions. But then they talk about their son and they fantasize this idea of their son being a ladies' man and just basically running the streets and terrorizing women. And it's just like, is that brain not working? Are those brain cells not rubbing together? Because I feel like it doesn't take a scientist to realize the way you raise your son is the exact reason why you feel the need to protect your daughter.
Clock it.
Can we wake it up? Like, you are quite literally admitting to why you feel the need to protect your daughter. You raise your son to become this tyrant, that can run through women, and it be seen as like, oh, he's such a man, he's so manly. But then you feel the need to protect your daughter because, oh, you know how boys are. Well, yeah, because that's how you raise your son. And it baffles me that they don't even realize it. And I don't see enough people calling it out. So it unfortunately doesn't seem like it's a common sense thing. And that honestly is concerning because I do really hate this idea and this philosophy that girls and boys have to be raised differently. Now, of course, because like just how society looks at gender, of course, there are some different things that you are going to have to handle differently when it comes to, the gender of your child. But in terms of things like dating, I feel like that should be treated pretty equally for the most part. So again, when I see fathers get on TikTok and openly admit that, oh, they don't want their daughters dating until like they're well grown, but then their sons can run the streets at 13, that's quite literally hypocrisy at its finest because you're raising your son to be a tyrant, but then you don't want your daughter to date until she's 18 because you know boys are tyrants, but you don't even realize it. I don't know, y'all. Maybe I'm reaching. I know the fathers for sure that at least treat their daughters like this. Are gonna say that, but let me know in the comments. Now I know like the past couple of topics that we talked about have been a little more like on the dark negative side. So I want to lighten up the mood a little bit and talk about my recent journey that I've started on motivation TikTok. I've always seen motivational TikToks like on my For You page, like every here and there. But recently, I would say like within like the past 2 weeks, I've like become fully immersed to the point where it's like almost every single video that comes up is it's motivation TikTok. It's a motivational TikTok, and it truly has been a blessing in disguise that I didn't even know I needed because I've just learned so many new things, so many different like mental tips that have changed positively how I go throughout my day, how I even start my day. Like just waking up at 5 a.m., I'm able to start it off for a good day because of just different practices that I now do on a daily basis, and just different mindsets and different things that I'm able to remind myself to just make sure that I go through my day as positive as possible and not allow anybody or anything to mess up how I feel. Almost every single day, I learn a new quote that develops my frontal lobe to a different degree. Almost every single day, I'm given a new challenge that allows me to start breaking a new habit that I've been struggling to start trying to break. And a perfect example of this is I tend to do this thing a lot, and I this is something that I've done for years. I will do this thing where I know I should be going to sleep. I know that if I don't go to bed right now, that I'm gonna wake up absolutely tired and just miserable, just insanely tired. But instead, I stay up because I like this feeling of, I guess, just having this peaceful, quiet time to myself at nighttime at like 3 in the morning when I really should be asleep. And I recently saw a TikTok that has helped me start breaking that habit of not making it seem like going to bed is a punishment, like taking me away from that peaceful time that I have, but instead changing it to where I'm trying to make that bad habit understand that, hey, going to bed is, I'm not trying to take you away from this peaceful time that you have for yourself. I'm trying to make sure that when you wake up tomorrow, you're able to wake up with a lot of energy and you're able to go through your day, just as positive as possible because you are well rested. So now anytime that I'm scrolling, on the internet at night and I get this slight feeling that I should be going to bed right now, instead of telling myself one more video, which is, how you very easily, get stuck in the trap of one more video, one more video, one more video, one more video. Instead, I'm now able to tell myself, hey, I know you want to keep scrolling on TikTok. You're enjoying this, peaceful alone time that you're having at night, but I also want the best for you. And I think that best is you turning the phone off and going to bed. So that way you wake up tomorrow well energized, well rested, and you're able to take on the day as productively as possible and able to get closer and closer to your goals much more sufficiently because you have rest. You can very easily come back, to Instagram. You can easily come back to TikTok tomorrow. But right now, I think it's best that you turn the phone off and go to sleep so that you can wake up tomorrow feeling just amazing. And that genuinely has been like one of the most beneficial tips I've probably ever heard in my life because that's a bad habit that I genuinely have had for years. And you know, not enough sleep for so long can affect your mental health. Being able to start breaking this habit truly, I've already kind of started seeing a change in how I'm able to wake up. Like I'm able to wake up for my 7:30 a.m. shift and I'm able to go to it and wake up, get dressed for it with no problem because I got well rest, because I was able to tell myself, hey, I'm not trying to take you away from this, like, this fun time that you're having, alone at night, peaceful, no one's bothering you. But I also want you to be well rested tomorrow. So I think it's best that you turn that phone off. And that's just one of the many things that I've learned on motivation TikTok. I can honestly go on and on and on and on about all the different things that I've learned, but I would honestly just suggest that go on motivation TikTok for yourself. Just simply look up motivational self-improvement TikToks and just take yourself down that rabbit hole because you're going to learn so many new things that are going to change your habits, that are going to change your way of thinking. We're almost done, y'all. The next topic that I have is the recipe to rising fame. And I say recipe in quotes because I don't feel like there's actually a recipe when it comes to rising to fame. And maybe not even necessarily rising to fame, but I guess just being successful. I unfortunately do see often how in specific careers people will give advice that, oh, if you want to be successful in this career, then you have to do this, and that. But what a lot of people don't realize is that there's so many different people out there in the world with so many different goals, and there can be so many different goals in one career. Therefore, it's going to require so many different journeys, so many different stepping stones. So this idea of a recipe that you have to follow in order to be successful in said career doesn't make sense to me, because your journey, it's not rocket science that your journey is can be different from somebody else's. Therefore, if you follow this recipe of somebody else who has different goals than you and is in a different spot in their career from you, a spot that you may not even have that much of a desire to be in, if you follow that recipe, that can distract you from your actual goals and where you actually want to get to. So I really hate this idea that, oh, if you want to be successful, you got to do this, and that. And again, just this whole idea of a recipe when it comes to being successful in a specific career. I would say just trust your instincts. You know what you need to do, you know what your goals are, and you know what you have to do to get there. So just trust your instincts and stop with this idea that you have to do this, because when you do that, when you start to do what everyone else is doing because everyone's following this recipe, that doesn't do anything but make you blend in, and you don't become successful by blending in. All right, y'all, so we are officially at the last topic of our video. Ending this off with a banger. I don't know how long this could go on for, but it needs to be talked about. And it's the downfall of cancel culture. I want to start right off the bat by saying I don't think cancel culture has ever genuinely been productive, but from what it is compared to what it was back in like COVID era, like when it really first started to blossom, it has gotten significantly and disgustingly worse. Cancel culture used to be about holding people accountable that would do wrong things, but unfortunately it has now that's what it's been disguised as today, but realistically it is now just simply trying to ruin people's lives. And we see that a lot today, where the second anybody starts to get a rise to fame, people's first objective is to dig deep in their lives and see what they can find to get them in trouble for. And when they find that thing that they're so desperately searching for, which first off, get a job, go spend your time doing something else. Like who sits around on the internet all day just trying to like dig deep on someone's life, someone who you don't even know, just so you can try to find a gotcha moment. Anyway, we see this so many times where people will find what they're looking for, hold the person accountable, and then when the person takes accountability for it and is like, yeah guys, I messed up really badly, I'm very sorry, um I'm not that person anymore, because 9 times out of 10 the stuff that they found was from like a decade ago. But when this person does take accountability, a lot of times it's met with, girl, we don't care. We never cared. Bringing this up wasn't for the purpose of holding you accountable. We wanted to ruin your life and paint you as a villain so that we can take all these brand deals, like everything away from you, all this good stuff that you have going for yourself because of the fame that you have. Bringing this up was so that we could take that away, because you have something that we want that we don't have, and if we don't have it, then we don't feel like you should have it.
See, that's where my problem kicks in at.
Oh boy.
And I don't think it's just a jealousy thing either. I think it's also a lot of times can be I want to be the most moral superior person in the room. And the way to do that is to try and villainize everybody around me so that I look like the best person right now. And you cannot convince me that that did not play a disgustingly major role in 45 getting elected again. People were so focused on trying to become morally superior that they forgot to attack the actual bad guy. Therefore, the bad guy looks like the good guy, which is how we now have who we have as president. Cancel culture is stupid. Now, it's not productive. It's not about holding people accountable. Y'all just want to ruin people's lives to either take things away from them that you want out of jealousy, or to make yourself seem like a superior person by villainizing everyone around you so that you can put yourself on this pedestal. I would love to know what your guys' thoughts on all the different topics that I talk about. So please have fun in the comments. Again, I would love to do this again. So please follow my IG so that next time I do this, I can ask you guys what are some topics that you guys want to hear my thoughts on, and you guys can go wild. Hey y'all, so this video took a little over an hour to film, and throughout that whole hour my mic was working up until I filmed the outro. I don't know why, but my mic just randomly decided to turn off, so there was no sound for that. So here's me refilming it now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, share. If you're new here, please subscribe. Like I said, we are a family. We have a key over here. You don't want to miss out. And, you know, if you're subscribed, you already know what to do. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.